A tornado flew around my room before you came. Excuse the mess it made. It usually doesn't rain in Southern California, much like Arizona. My eyes don't shed tears, but boy they pour when I'm thinking about you. You no. I've been thinking about you. You no. I've been thinking about you. Do you think about me still? Do you not think so far ahead?
Hey guys, it's Sumi here. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, I know. Today I'm finally doing my most highly requested video. You guys have been asking me for months, and it's officially my 1-year anniversary of moving and living in New York City. So I'm going to be answering all of your questions on how I did it, where to live, how to move, yada 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 yada. Any advice, any tips I have for those that are interested in doing this. And of course, I brought some favors. You guys have been requesting and asking me to do more gardening videos. I am trying to cut back, but it's not today. So grab your tea, grab your bud, whatever it is, and yeah, let's get into the video. Anyways, but I asked you guys to leave me some questions that you had, and I'm going to be trying to answer most of the questions that I got. A lot of the questions were the same thing, like where do you move, especially if you've never been to New York, you don't know like about the boroughs, what's poppin', what's not poppin', what's in your budget. A lot of you guys also asked me to talk a little bit about finding a job, how to get one, and to talk about my first 3 to 6 months of living here. So I'm gonna try to get through everything and tell you guys my story. What worked for me will not work for everybody. I say this because everyone that I've met that lives in New York City and who did something very similar, whether they moved from Canada, out of the country, LA, like everybody did something similar to me. I'm not the first person to do this. We all had different outcomes, we all had different experiences, and the biggest thing is we're all here for different reasons. Looking back at my journey, there's a lot of things that I would do differently, and what I hope that you guys take away from this video is to use my experience as reference that it is possible, but also use me as an example of what not to do. If you're expecting to manifest things overnight, this video is not for you. If you're expecting to move here and hit the ground running, this video is not for you. If you're lazy and you want an easy way in, this video is not for you, because if I'm completely honest, shit is hard. It's hard work. The city has so many different opportunities to take advantage of and to utilize to your advantage, but it's so easy to get lost in the wrong things. So in this video, I hope I give you guys some insight on how to make this transition, how to make it happen for yourself. But take what I say with a grain of salt, because again, what's gonna happen to you will be completely different than what happened to me and what happens to other people. Which brings me to my first rule of moving to New York City, is to know why you're moving here. I've met people who just moved here because of the aesthetics and the vibes, and I'm gonna be honest, if you're moving here for that sole reason, you're gonna hate living here. It is not gonna be worth the experience. It's actually going to ruin your aesthetically view of New York City. To me, the aesthetics and the vibes that New York City portrays only hits when you're here for a reason. I can't tell you the amount of times where I was crashing out, or I just had a shitty day, because the city just does that to you sometimes. And I just took a minute to like breathe in and look at the skyline of the city, and I'm like, it's so worth it. Like, I'm here for a reason. Having a reason for being here is gonna be the only thing that really keeps you sane. It's not your friends. I mean, sometimes, yes, it is your community and the friends that you build here and your passions, but again, that's all centered around why you're here. If you don't have a reason to be here, don't come, because it's just unnecessary chaos, unnecessary stress for no reason. I moved here just like anybody else because I always wanted to live here. I actually have family that lives here, and I remember coming in the summer times and sometimes holidays, visiting my family in the Bronx, Jersey, or Harlem, and I just have never experienced the city in my 20s, so I thought it was a great time to take advantage of that. But I also moved here because there's so many things that I see for myself. I am a woman who is meant to do it all. Like, I believe I'm supposed to be a singer, a performer, I'm supposed to do social media, and I really see myself going to school in the next year, like NYU, to study communications so that I can have a PR degree to kind of support all of that. But I'm also in the right rooms and around the right people that can also lead me to that direction, from modeling agencies, from casting calls, from culinary school, fashion design school. Like, there's so many different classes here that I can really use to my advantage to advance my skill set and my passions. And that's what brought me to New York City, is to learn from a beginner's perspective, but to advance and master in my craft. That is my biggest reminder for myself when I'm having these tough days and when I'm going through these trial and error moments, is I'm here to learn from a beginner's perspective so that I can be the best at whatever it is that I want to be. And I can learn from a thing or two from everybody around me. There's so many different people to learn and educate yourself around and to be inspired by even. Rule number 2 is something that you don't necessarily have to do, because I didn't do it, but it's something that I would advise people to do, and that's to save up. Anything helps. Like, even if you have a couple of weeks to make this move, whatever you're doing to make money and whatever you can to make money, make that money. Like, it's just such a much bigger relief when you have that extra support and security, because otherwise you're gonna be in flight or fight mode for a while. Like, I was in flight or fight mode. I probably got out of this mode like 3 months ago, because when I got here, I literally I couldn't think about anything else but how I was gonna make it, how I was gonna find a place to live, where I was gonna work. Like, that was literally the only thing that was like consuming my day-to-day. I printed out resumes the second day that I got here, so I had a stack of resumes, and I made it my goal for my first month living here to go out every day in the city and apply and give out my resume. Setting up interviews, I was constantly on Indeed for like hours. Like, every hour I was on Indeed refreshing. I was reaching out to the managers, emailing them, going on LinkedIn. I was doing everything to secure a job. And I'll talk a little bit about this later on, but I'm just kind of giving you insight on like my experience to give you an example. I literally had $300 to my name, and I know I talked about this on my TikTok. Like, I didn't have anything to my name. I literally had like probably $300 to my name. I didn't have a debit card. I was using Apple Pay for like 6 months because I was backpacking prior to that, and all I had was a little mini carry-on luggage full of summer clothes that I got from Thailand. Like, I was not fully prepared for this move, and I know a lot of you guys are like, how did you do it? What was the manifestation hack that you used to do it? There was no hack. I just prayed. I prayed every day. I grounded myself. I reminded myself why I was here, and I was willing to put in that work, because living in New York City, there's so many moving parts. You have to hustle. Nobody cares why you're here, so you have to make it known why the fuck you're here, because nobody cares. They don't care. You're just another person who wanted to move here and that had a dream, so you have to prove it. And don't prove it for people in the city or for family and friends back at home. Prove it for yourself, because that's going to make it more enjoyable. It's going to make it more easier for you to transition. To sum it up, nobody really gives a fuck why you're here. They don't care about your sob story, because everybody has a sob story. So I like just showed up. I had someone buy my one-way ticket here. It was this guy from Germany. Bought my one-way ticket here. I showed up with no game plan. I had no expectations. I just was like, okay, fuck it. When I get there, I will figure it out, because I don't have no choice. Like, we're here. The city has to accept me, right? Would I recommend that? No, but I had to do what I had to do, because I was not going back to the DMV. As you guys know, I quit my 9-to-5 like 2 years ago, went backpacking for 7 to 8 months, and then I moved to New York City. So moving back to DC after doing all of that was just not an option, and I just could not accept it. And I was like, well, if I have to start over already, I might as well start over and make it harder for myself by living in fucking New York City, because when I make it, it's gonna be 10 times better. Like, the math was just mathing. Like, it was just math in my head. Why would I go back to my hometown and start over, and it's gonna be shit anyways, and then make it work when I could just make it work in New York City and it'd be shit just the same, because it's expensive and it's hard, but you know, we're gonna do better. And I do really believe that I've been doing better, because when I was living in DC, I did not see what was next for me. If I'm being honest, which is why I decided to up and root my life, because every day just felt like a routine. I felt like I was on a hamster wheel and I just could never see the bigger picture. But since backpacking and living in New York City, I see the bigger picture and it's so much more clear, and I'm always expanding it and being more specific. This video is perfect for someone that does want to uproot your life. If you're someone who wants to move your life to New York City, that's a whole different video that I can't assist you with, especially because moving in New York City already is hard and expensive. I can only imagine how expensive it is to uproot your life and move it to New York. So that's not what this is at all. If you want to start your life over, I'm your girl, okay? I know a thing or two about starting over. And you just want to avoid yourself the headache and just go ahead and save up. Sell anything that you can. I sold my car and I sold all of my furniture in my apartment because it just didn't mean anything to me. I literally am still rebuilding my wardrobe right now, but I sold everything because I knew I wanted to just completely start over from scratch. I didn't want the same clothes anymore. I didn't want the same furniture. I didn't want the same style. Like, I was okay with that. So if you're not okay with that, then maybe like save up a couple of months to make that transition. Then again, like, that's just like thoroughly planning. Like, if you are someone who wants to uproot your life, you're gonna have to thoroughly plan for that. Like, I'm just scrapping it, throw it away, let's start over from scratch. That's me. Number 3, and this is the most important rule I would have to say for your first months living in New York, is understand that your first 3 to 6 months are temporary. Like, anything that happens those first 3 to 6 months are bound to have a tower moment. And I say this because it's kind of like the honeymoon phase. Like, you think that your first options are going to be the best options, and they're not. The sooner you realize that your first couple of months, your first year here, everything is probably not going to go into your second year here, the better and easier it is for you to move with the city, because you don't want to move against New York. You want to move with New York, and because it's moving constantly a mile a minute, you got to keep up. Don't have these high expectations for things that are happening around you at that time. I can honestly say my first year was rather boring. If you're thinking I did these fun experiences, I was invited to these cool events, I went to these cool parties, no. I've seen some crazy shit, but I have not done the crazy cool stuff that you see on social media. I've not, because my priorities are different. Like, I'm thinking about the bigger picture, the long-term goal here. I'm not thinking about temporary fun. Like I said, back to rule number 1, know why you came here, because if you came here for the parties and the vibes, wrap it up. Just come and visit on vacation. If you're here for a long-term goal, you want to act, you want to model, you want to sing, you want to be an artist, you're gonna have your first year is only gonna be worried about how to get there and meeting the right people and making those connections and being invited to those events. I think going into my second year, I could see a lot of me taking advantage of those opportunities and events, but it just wasn't a priority for me this go round, just because I just moved here. I was completely starting over and I just needed to get myself afloat. So I would say it took me about 6 to 7 months to get like afloat living in New York City, realistically, with like keeping up with my bills, having a job, keeping a job, you know, all of that. And I think because I know that I live in New York City and there's always going to be another event, there's always going to be other opportunities. It might be bigger than the opportunity that I missed. It just wasn't a priority for me because I'm in an environment where I always have access to that, and it's going to be more enjoyable when I'm at a situation or at a level where I can actually enjoy it. But if you prioritize it when you first move here, you're going to hate yourself and you're going to hate New York City. And it's so easy to get peer pressured by the atmosphere and the people. Like, you see the aesthetics in real life, you know, people are used to seeing it on Pinterest and TikTok and Instagram, but when you see it in real life, it's so easy to be peer pressured and have FOMO. But going back to rule number 1, focusing on the bigger picture, it's gonna be there. It's not going anywhere. I promise you, it's not going anywhere. It's going to be there. You have time. You can circle back, and it's probably going to be even bigger when it's your time to shine. Rule number 4 is securing the bag, aka looking for a job. This is my most highly asked question from you guys, is how to get a job in New York City. And I'm gonna be honest, getting a job in New York City is very competitive. I came with a big ass head thinking that because I had a certain amount of following on Instagram and TikTok, like, people were just gonna want to collab and throw jobs at me, money, money, money. Like, I was humbled very, very quickly because once again, people in New York City don't care. They don't give a fuck who you are and why you're here. You have to make yourself heard. So because they don't care why you're here, it's super competitive to find work because everybody's a hustler. Everybody has that like grinding mindset. I'm not saying it's impossible to get a job or not even to get your dream job, but you do have to put in some extra work to get it because it's just how it is. Especially if you've never worked in New York City, you've never lived in New York City, it's even more competitive for us. A lot of employers would prefer people that have a year experience working in a New York City environment. So I was getting a lot of no's. Like I said, I did have a stack of my resumes printed out, so I was handing them out in person. And would I say that's the most effective way? No, it is a fast way. You never know who will like hire you on the spot. I did have a couple of jobs that I like could have said yes to, but I ended up turning them down because it just wasn't a good fit. But a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you to apply online. So if you haven't applied online anyways, it just kind of wastes your time to even like give them the resume. So I was just constantly on Indeed. I was constantly refreshing. I even went on Craigslist. You can usually find gigs on Craigslist. I would recommend working in the service industry. It's the fastest way to get a job, and it's weekly pay, and the tips are usually really good, especially in New York City. If you think you're gonna apply for jobs when you're not even living in New York City, they're not gonna even bother to even like talk to you or interview you. Like, you need to be physically in New York City to get a job. I still look, even though I have 2 jobs right now and I like my jobs, but you just never know. Opportunities are always presenting themselves. You could be at the right place at the right time at any moment. So get comfortable with having a resume ready, get comfortable with having a LinkedIn, get comfortable with having any form that shows that you are willing and ready to work, because if you're not, keep it pushing. I would also recommend hopping on any establishments that are about to open. All of my jobs that I've had were all opening, like they were new establishments, so they're always eager to hire, especially immediately, and it's just easy to like get an interview. But you definitely have to be quick, because if you're not, like, the line could be, the queue for that job could be like thousands of people. I've been invited to interviews and the line was like right around the corner, and I didn't even waste my time, to be respectful, because I'm not waiting in line for a job. When I first got here, I wrote down 5 jobs that I could see myself doing, and that would also push me in the right direction towards where I wanted to be and like why I wanted to be in New York City. So for me, it was working as a barista, it was working at a gym, it was working at a bar or a club. I also wrote that I wanted to work at like a florist or a plant shop. And then I also put stripper, because I don't know, I wanted to see what the vibes would be, if I'm being honest. Like, the thing that I wrote on that list, I was a barista, I'm still a barista, and I work at a gym. I work for the corporate side of a really popular luxury gym in New York City. It's one of the top gyms in New York City. So I literally manifested that. Like, it's all about writing and being specific, and that's why I say knowing why you're here is going to be the key thing to keep you going and keep you sane and opening up the doors that you want to open. If it wasn't for me writing down what I wanted from this experience and being intentional and specific, I probably wouldn't be at the gym that I work at now. I probably wouldn't have the doors open that are opening now, because it's all about being intentional. It's all about speaking things into existence. You can say it 1,001 times, but if you're also not taking that action, it's not gonna happen. I worked at a kitchen when I first moved here. It was true, honest work. Like, that, working in a kitchen and moving to New York City was like the true niche indie movie scene that you thought it would be. Like, I literally felt like I was in a movie. I worked in the back kitchen. I hated it. I worked at a ramen spot in Manhattan, and the pay was good. The pay was weekly, so I was making a good amount for weekly pay, and I just saved up everything that I had that I was getting from that job to make my move to my apartment, because again, I only had 1 month at my grandma's house. I'm sure she would have given me more time, but realistically it was enough time for me to figure out my next move. There was like this whole rumor that people were saying I was a Nepo baby, and that's how I made this happen, and I'm like, bitch, I was not a Nepo baby. I fucking wish. My first month here, all I thought about was work and moving, and every day, anytime any type of time I had to myself, I was looking for apartments constantly, looking for a new job or a second job constantly. Like I had no time to do anything fun or to think about. And I moved here around Halloween time too, so I didn't even get to like celebrate Halloween or anything. I think I was actually working on Halloween and on Thanksgiving and on Christmas. Like that's how much of a hustler I was to make shit happen for me. That's the type of time that you need to be on if you want to make this move, because you cannot play. Like the city will eat you the fuck up and nobody will care. Brings me into my next rule. Rule number 5, finding your sacred space, finding a home. How I did it, I'm gonna be honest, I moved here with horrible credit, and you need to have like damn near perfect credit, or you need to be sitting on a nice large sum of savings to move into a nice apartment in New York City. Best bet is to go on Facebook Marketplace and find the sublet pages. Those are the most helpful resources to finding people, making connections, and getting a place to live ASAP, especially if you're someone who doesn't have a situation like me where you can pull up to the city, call a family member, and crash there for X amount of time. I knew a lot of people who got here and they just went on Facebook Market or those Facebook pages and they were able to find a place to live. Like it's that easy, and it's the most effective way. I knew people that started out in hostels, which hostels are a good source, but you can't really stay in hostels long because hostels are really only meant for people that are coming and going. So I think in New York City they do have a rule that you can only stay in a hostel for like a month and then they kick you out or they ban you essentially. Not the most reliable source, but they are a good source to getting started if you're someone who needs to like make this move effective and fast. I think they're the best option, but what I would recommend is doing the Facebook pages, because there's thousands of people who are constantly updating the page, who are looking for roommates, who are looking to break their lease. And that's how I got my current apartment. Now I was able to get a sublet. I was on those pages like every 30 minutes because you don't realize that New York City is a big place, so people are constantly sending messages. And what I was running into with my issue was people like taking really long time to get back to me, because the post would be like 2 hours long, but their inbox would have like thousands of messages or hundreds of messages already, so you'll be pushed down. So I was constantly on those pages like every 30 minutes refreshing them, and whenever someone posted instantly and I was interested in the apartment, I would shoot my shot. And that's kind of how I got my apartment. I was like just hunting daily on my breaks. Mind you, I didn't really have a like good schedule. When I first got my serving job, I was working from like 11 to like 8, or like sometimes I would do like 12 to like 10 o'clock. I just had to use my time very, very wisely when it came to finding a place to live, and that's the best route, especially if you're someone who doesn't have a nice lump of savings, or you don't have good credit, because these landlords are super like iffy about people that they want to move into their place, and they go through a very rigorous process to make it happen. So I would suggest going on the Facebook pages. There's a ton that you can join. I know a lot of people, my current roommate actually like found her best friends from those pages as well. So it's just like a great opportunity to meet people, find your circle, your clique, whatever. But yeah, that's what I would recommend. As you guys know, I'm really big on manifestation and spirituality, prayer. I pray. I write everything down and I take time to ground myself, meditate, be still. And it's a lot easier said than done, because I have my moments when I think that shit is just BOGO, like it's not doing anything. But I see it every day. I see the magic of my words every day when I just take a moment to ground myself, reflect. So that's my biggest takeaway. I have absolutely no regrets for how I got here, and it's only gonna get better. And I'm glad that you guys get to be a part of this process. And the only way that you're gonna really know truly where you should live, because I know someone else asked me to talk about the boroughs and like how to know where to live. I picked Brooklyn because none of my family members are from Brooklyn. I don't know anyone in Brooklyn. Brooklyn was up and coming, and it's also like pretty central to the city, so I just thought it was a perfect fit. I actually thought it was funny when I was living in Germany and I got my ticket to New York. I brought from Zara a New York shirt and it said Brooklyn, but I didn't realize it said Bushwick, and I literally live in Bushwick. The power of my mind, guys. I'm just saying. But the only way to really know which borough is going to be the best for you is living here. Like, I could tell you that Queens is good for you. I could tell you that Brooklyn's good for you. I could tell you that Harlem's good for you. But like, you really won't know until you live here. I live in Bushwick. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Like, I see myself in other places in Brooklyn, and there's so many different like places within the boroughs to live in. So you just really have to like live here to really know which place. And that's why doing the sublet route is the best option, because you can get a sublet for like 2 months, and then if you hate that borough, go to the next borough. Easy thing. It gives you time before you have to sign a lease. You have to give yourself a year here. Like, you can't give yourself 2 to 3 months. I knew someone that like gave herself 3 months to make shit happen, and that's just not how it works. Like, you literally have to give yourself a year to see result in the right direction. But that's the end of this video, guys. Hopefully I answered all of your questions. Let me know what other videos you guys want to see down below. I want to do more engaging videos for you guys and connect and chat and kiki, so let me know down below what other videos you want to see or what other questions that you guys have. That's pretty much it. I have to go. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.